And I remember I stayed out there when we did the first spiritual run from Winnemucca out to Thacker Pass. We started a fire there. So the first night it was okay, I watched the fire, kept the fire going all night. The second night was all right. The third night, the wind was blowing, it started to rain, started to snow. Kept putting on wood, and I would sit there, then I would pray to the spirits. I don't know if I kind of went to sleep because everything got really calm, everything got really quiet. And then this person come from the west side, and I was sitting there, whoa, what kind of trip am I on? Where he was standing there, and then pretty soon he looked at me and he says, well, I came here, to protect the lands here because these people are coming in. They're trying to dig up all of this poison that's under the ground here, and they're gonna build a mine here. And then he stood there for a second, and then he took off. Back maybe like about 3, maybe 4 years ago that we formed this people of Red Mountain. And in the Paiute language it's called Namiyawa Atsakurakuit.
We wanted to get a whole group of community members my age through like elders, everyone in between. And this at first started out with just, Fort McDermott tribal descendants, but we've since then expanded to other tribes within our region. We wanted a collection of Native people interested and ready to support the backing of indigenous knowledge, cultural preservation, to protect against these lithium mines that were affecting us.
For us, the people of Red Mountain, the blood that we have running through our veins is the same blood that's out at Thacker Pass. We have relatives all over the place.
In August 1865, so just a month before that, Fort McDermott was established. In the history books, it mentioned that that's when they started rounding up all the Native people within that area.
They called upon them to come out there because they said that the Indians were being hostile. So they ran away from them. That's how everybody ended up out there towards Thacker Pass. But then the soldiers came, and then they just came in there and they shot everybody, the women, children, elders, everybody that was there.
There was $100 on a male scout. There was $50 for a woman scout and $25 for a child scout in 1865. These are all documented through my reservation of Duck Valley.
And then there was a few people. I think there was this guy named Sam. He was the one that had survived that. He snuck out of there.
My great-great-great-grandpa, his name is Sam. Yeah. He was the one that got away. We call it the disaster peak. He went that way.
We are survivors of genocide. There's places like Thacker Pass that prove that.
A lot of times when I go out there, when I really get into really deep thoughts like that. And then I could feel like a lot of hate, a lot of anger, and a lot of sadness. I try not to get really down deep into it. And in the back of my mind, I have this prayer, like, let it go, help us. We're not here to hurt anybody, or, we're just here. We're just the visitors here. We're visiting you, people here that had, that had been massacred out here.
We were meant to protect these places. We were meant to come back and acknowledge that these things happened and speak up for those who can't. It seems really heavy. Every single time I talk about it, it comes up. But I think it's important for those things to come up and acknowledge and then heal from.
What is happening at Thacker Pass is they fast-tracked a lithium mine. This process did not talk to the original inhabitants of the land. You could say, they weren't a part of this master plan of the green energy transition.
It seems like it was really unfair how the way the government went about things. It was like right at the time when the pandemic started, and then it was like everything was done hush-hush, nobody said nothing. People didn't really share anything with the community.
There was 3 tribes that were officially contacted by the Lithium Nevadas Corporation. So the thing they have to remember is that that Thacker Pass area is sacred to many, 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 many tribes surrounding that area, not just those 3. So to get true consent, the corporation has to consult, and it has to be meaningful consultation. What they did was they sent 3 letters to 3 tribes during the COVID pandemic. The tribes did not respond, and the judge, to this point, the judges have sided with the corporation, and they're digging. They are already doing work at Thacker Pass.
When I first came in, I was fresh out of college. I was told that clean energy, green energy, solar panels, EV cars were supposed to aid in abating climate change.
But I think what is not shared is the destruction, of the land through these mines to get all of the rare earth minerals that is needed for this technology. So that includes, lithium from places like Argentina, Chile. Those indigenous communities are considered sacrifice zones, and so is Fort McDermott. And so the people of Red Mountain, are resisting this. They are not a sacrifice zone.
It really kind of ignores the people that are living there on the ground. What are they going to have to sacrifice for this to move forward? They have lost a lot of their ancestral lands, important cultural sites, a significant part of the identity of who they are as a people.
I really feel like it's a catch-22 because one, as an Indigenous person, I care about, the earth. I care about those things that are affecting my seasonal harvest and my hunting grounds and, that cultural preservation. But yeah, sustainability sometimes to me is it's frustrating because really what is sustainable?
So the misconception that lithium is having is that it's sustainable. It's not going to be sustainable if you take all the water, 1.1 billion gallons of water a year for the next 40 to 60 years, at the very least, and that's their baseline number.
This issue of needing to mine to develop new technologies for our transition away from carbon-based economy is challenging because mining in itself is a driver of climate change. On one hand, Thacker Pass is amongst a number of proposed mines that's going to provide minerals for new kinds of technology, which are presumed to be, cleaner, better than what we have now. But it is a hit to the planet system. I think that we need to be very careful about how we move forward in this way. And that if we're thinking about a lot more extraction, a lot more mining, then we need to be very judicious about it and very cautious.
We know what mining does to the land, and we had a past experience with the mine, and it's caused a lot of damage, and it's never been fixed. The Cordero mine was a mercury mine. It was a little before my age. I experienced a little bit of it. They had their tailings. I guess they had an idea to spread this out, as use it as road base, and so we spread it all over the school. It was all over the playgrounds, people's houses. They used some on the reservation for a road. We would play King of the Hill, you know, where it was a bunch of kids, and we'd be playing. And I remember if you got to the bottom, you would get cut up on your knees. And so this day, I still think about what's going to happen, or whatever. We were laying on this stuff and playing on it.
Back when I first learned about the Cordero mine when I was younger, I didn't really know too much about it. I just heard that the mine was here, it was bad, it contaminated the water. As I got older, I was able to educate myself and learn a little bit more about the Cordero mine. I think the entire town, regardless if you're in the town of McDermott or if you're on the reservation, I think that they are all experiencing the aftermath of the Cordero mine.
Well, the Cordero mines really left a major effect by contaminating the town of McDermott's water source. And it hurts when you hear about your auntie or your loved ones having cancer. And my father-in-law passed away of cancer, and he worked in the casino in McDermott, and I'm sure he drank water every day out of the sink.
One of my oldest sister's husband worked there, and my second oldest sister, her husband worked there at Caldero, and my third one, they all worked there, their husbands, and they all died of cancer. Yeah.
I guess the town was bigger and they had jobs when the McDermott Caldero mine was going, but looking back, I'd rather have my people living than dying of cancer or died of cancer. That's just my belief. So I don't think I would switch. I would choose a mine over life.
I mean, there's a huge number of abandoned mines in Nevada as well as across the country. The early period of mining, there's no regulations. It's like, whoever had the biggest shotgun, that was their claim, and they're going to work it. In Nevada, our more modern mining regulations began about 1989. What mining companies will say today is, oh, wait a minute, no, Nevada's got good bonding regulations and so forth, so it's all modern, or so forth. And it is much better than it has been before. Depending upon how far they get with Thacker Pass in terms of their mining, if for example, they begin mining below the water table, according to the permit they have with the state of Nevada, they're limited, but I believe that will probably change. I don't think that will stay in place. Nevertheless, if they are able to mine below the water table, and then if they go bankrupt, that area where they mine below the water table is going to produce a pollution stream into the groundwater system that would have to be managed probably for hundreds of years. That's by their own analysis. And the question is that in the bond? Is that covered? Currently, no, it's definitely not covered because the state's not letting them do it, but, will it be covered? And certainly Thacker Pass is a good example of a very rushed process. And I think there's consequences down the road for that.
My grandma used to say that. He said, money here and there, money's not gonna last. It's not gonna buy the land back.
When we talk to people, they always want a solution. Like, okay, we need this lithium for the transition to a green economy. And what I've always said is that, this is their land, it's where they're from, and that's kind of, we need to listen to them. We have to listen to the people whose land it is, and specifically those elders, and for me specifically, the elders that have deep spiritual connections to this land.
There's a lot of work that needs to be done. So people out there, if you're watching this, hearing this, we ask you to look at things in a humanized way. We are still here as Shoshones, as Paiutes, as Bannocks, as relatives to each other, to our different bands throughout different states. We prefer pristine landscapes over extractivism. That is what our elders want. They wanted to protect our kids, the water, the land. That's what we must do. So it's very important that we continue this tradition, that we continue to teach our kids, my son and his son, who our family is, where we come from, and where we're gonna go. Life over lithium.